It's great to be back, guys. How long has it been since I last did a live video? It's been around it's been at least 3 weeks, probably about a month or so, because I've been away on some travels, and I went to England, or we went to England. We went to lots of places in England. We also went to Dublin and Ireland, then went to Denmark, back to England, a couple of places in England, and it's been a roller coaster of travels. So I've been really in lots of different places, so it's great to be back, and it's going to get a little bit more hectic for me because I'm actually moving from Austin, Texas, and going to be in San Diego for as long as we desire, ultimately. So I'm so pleased to get back. It's great to have you, Shelley, Mind Mastery member. Great to have all these people tuning in. It's been a while, and I don't usually start these until I'm around the 5-minute mark, because I want to make sure we give enough people time to really log in. So great to see you, James. Great to see you, Sarah, Veli, and Anon as well on Periscope, because I'm doing Periscope and Facebook at the same time. As people are saying, go to the UK. I will hopefully do a training, or more like a seminar. I just saw saying a little dust go across my screen there. That was weird. So great to have you, Joshua. Great. So we're really getting going. The new app on here has really changed. It's giving me notifications. So bear with me while I get to grips with it. Oh, it wasn't a bit of dust. It was one of these notifications saying I've got a heart or a like. So I thought I was imagining things then. But it's great to be back. And we're at the 2.5 minute mark. So today's subject is going to be really exciting. Are you ready to learn? Who's ready to learn? Who is ready to get something really deep to the conscious level and the unconscious level when it comes to the words that we speak about? If you're ready, go ahead and let me know. Also, let me know where you are and where you're coming from. It's always great to see the comments coming in. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I can tend to read 2 screens and speak at the same time. So I will be reading your comments as they come in. So great. Do I cover, I can never say it, trichotillomania? I don't actually have an audio on that, but I have worked with clients with that with great success. It is very possible. You can still make changes. I've got some free ones there, and also like a mind mastery, or I can give you more detailed information as well. So yep, I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and start. So the conversation today is all about how critical your words are when it comes to making change in your life, or in fact, how those words can actually cause you to stay absolutely stuck in the situation you are in your life. So we have to really be conscious of our words, because most of the thoughts we have are at an unconscious level, or you're saying them without understanding the meaning of those words and the effect of those words. And that is why it's going to be really critical to be able to get clear on this. In fact, I got one of those, a quote that I always love. It's like one of those small little parables, stories and so on. And it's all about this old Cherokee chief teaching his grandson about life. He says, "A fight is going on inside of me," he said to the boy. "It is a terrible fight, and it's between 2 wolves. One is evil, he is anger, he is envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, self-doubt, and ego. The other is good. He is joy, he is peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside of every other person 2. The grandson then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? And the chief simply replied, the one you feed. So that is really about what are we feeding ourselves, okay, in terms of the words that we use, the feelings that we have, the ideas that we have, the things that we hallucinate in our minds, and ultimately it's the thing that we are feeding to ourselves all the time. We are feeding to our unconscious mind all the time. You see, your unconscious mind is continuously, I believe Deepak Chopra once said that the body is continuously eavesdropping on the very thoughts that you actually have. So if you are having thoughts of self-doubt and worries and fears and anxieties, limiting beliefs, all those thoughts that you may be running, that internal dialogue, all those things in a negative way, your body will begin to feel it. You see, we usually use words inside our mind, the self-talk, and even to those around us in our life, we use those words to usually describe the situation we're in. But we should use words not to describe the situation we're in, but to change the situation. If you are continually saying the same old thing to yourself, the same old stories, the same old reasons, the same old excuses, yes, they can be excuses, and that is not always a cool thing, is it? But the same old lies and stories that we tell ourselves about all the things we can or cannot do in a negative way, we are only reinforcing to our subconscious, to our unconscious, to our reality that is the only thing that we can do. We actually dictate what we're capable of. In fact, I could teach you a very quick idea of imagining this, okay? So about how we can change our imagination. So what I'd like you to do is a quick little demonstration for you. I'd like you to go ahead and close, and in fact, I want you to open your eyes, which they are right now, and just put your hands out in front of you, okay? Now, keeping your feet to the floor, or if you're sitting down right now, keeping your bum to the seat, I want you to get your hands out there and just move all the way around and see how far you can go, okay? And notice the point on the wall in this case, or whatever you're lining up, the location that you're actually pointing to, okay? How far your body's going around without putting pressure on yourself, planting your feet, planting your bum, and just moving all the way around, and just kind of notice how far you can go back. And as you do that, just make a mental note, and then go ahead and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, go ahead and imagine putting your hands out there, so not physically putting your hands out there, putting your hands out in your mind, and then go ahead and imagine your hands going all the way around to that point, and then 2 inches past that point. So we're just imagining this right now, and just imagine your hands going all the way back into the center. And then imagine your hands going up again in front of you, going all the way around in the same direction, this time going past that point, all the way around by a couple of feet. So you're almost going all the way around, and then imagine them going all the way back. Now with your eyes closed still, imagine putting your hands all the way up again, and then go ahead and imagine really rotating a 360 degrees in your mind. So you're almost imagining like an owl, you're going all the way around, all the way back to the beginning, and then rewind that, pull your hands back all the way back to the middle again. And then go ahead and imagine one more time in your mind putting your hands up and then going all the way around like an owl, but this time going even further. So physically impossible, of course, but there's just simply our imagination. We can do anything in our imagination. And then as it goes around twice maybe, imagine those hands going all the way back to the place that they were. So right now we've imagined, you can open your eyes here, we imagined in our mind putting our hands up and going all the way around, rotating way beyond what we could physically do, but it's just simply our imagination. But now what I want to do is go ahead and physically put your hands up again. So you're not imagining it this time, you're just putting your hands up, and then begin to rotate in the exact same way and notice what happens. Just go ahead and test that one out right now. I can pretty much guarantee 99.9% of you will actually be going further than you originally did. It's a very weird process, and the reason why that works is that our imagination can override what we think we can do. And if we begin to utilize that imagination, I was just giving you instructions, and those words were causing you to break out of the boundary of what you think is possible. So when we go to do it physically, our brain, our unconscious mind now has a new possibility. You see, the things that we say to ourselves, the things that we imagine ourselves doing in the world, acting and reacting, will actually be dictating how we are in the world. So as I said, we should not be using the words to describe our situation, because describing our situation is just based on past experiences which have led us to this point, which could be negative experiences, traumatic experiences, limiting decisions, limiting beliefs, limiting habits, and all those things that we don't like. But if we begin to use our words to change our situation, to begin to speak power into our life, that is when we begin to change. Your voice, your inner voice, has big power over how you are in this world, how you think, how you feel, how you act, and you react. Because whenever you're thinking, whenever the words that you say to yourself, if you're saying to yourself, I cannot do this, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I'm not good looking, I'm not capable, I'm not a fast reader, I'm not intelligent, I struggle to grasp, and all those things which happen in our mind, if we begin to do that, we create images of that in our mind, which then creates feelings in our system, which then adds to our physiology, and the combination of all of those will begin to cause you to act and react in accordance to your thoughts and the words that you speak on the inside of you and what you speak on the outside. But on the same matter, if we begin to transform and change the way that we think, whether we begin to speak power into our life, and we begin to change our words, we will then begin to create new images in our mind, new associations, internal representations. That will in turn create new feelings, which will have an effect on your physiology. And there's all proven, like the mind-body connection. That's not so hard at all to even imagine these days, because it is just science, but our mind and body is completely interconnected. That too will begin to change the way you act and react. So your words are very powerful. Now, we got to think and ask ourselves, what kind of words are we giving out to the world? What are we saying to those people in our life? What are we saying on the inside? Are we complaining too much? Are we complaining about our situation? Are we giving ourselves reasons? Because those reasons, that complaining only validates the situation that we're in. It validates and gives reason, and it actually gives life to the issue. If you keep on telling yourself that I'm unable to get fit, or I'm unable to write a book, or approach someone in a bar who you find attractive, or to go for that interview, or to even ask for that promotion, but you know that you really want it inside. But if we begin to speak ill of those situations, or we begin to declare to ourselves that we cannot do it, it is not able to work for us, that we're not good enough, we're not capable, it simply validates that. It gives your story of those validations and that self-talk, it gives it life, it gives birth to more limitation. So we have to begin to flip this round. So each time that we begin to speak negative, because it will be happening at an unconscious level, will be happening like beneath the surface, it is your job to begin to wake up and do something differently. Because those things will keep happening until you begin to stop it. You may have been programmed for so long, but your brain is beginning to do this on an automatic way, that your neural networks are firing off the same old stories, the same old thoughts, the same old tonality, the same old situation. because our past, the things that we go in, are only a reflection of, or our present situation is only a reflection of our past decisions and behaviors at a conscious and unconscious level. But if we start to change today and begin to speak power into our life, and we declare that I am worthy, I am good enough, I am going to get that promotion, I am going to lose that weight, I am going to be able to make changes, and we begin to discover the why it's important, why we actually really want this, like the thing which you really want, consider what that will get you, and you consider the why it's important to you to make that change and let go of whatever issue you're in or situation that you're in, and we begin to uncover the real drive and the real motivation, it will cause a greater energy. We begin to declare to the world that I am worthy. So quit the complaining with your friends. I mean, you probably know people in your life who are continuously complaining and they just continuously get the same old results. What we have to do is ourselves is to stop that and also do the same on the inside. So rather complaining about I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, we got to quit it ultimately. And we may even want to say that to ourselves every time that happens. I'm going to quit this attitude. I'm going to quit this negative self-talk, and I'm going to declare a new way of being, that every time I begin to speak down about myself, I'm going to double the confidence in saying something more empowering. I'm going to, even if I don't believe it, I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to really expand upon what I want. I'm going to declare it, I'm going to show it to the world and begin to be my potential. So we have to follow up our reasons, our excuses, our words which are critical of ourselves and even others and the world, because we can have those ideas of the world's a bad place, that I can't change my situation because I haven't got the job or the financial economy. That to me, and it's going to probably annoy many people by me saying that, but those ideas are simply a limitation. That does not have to be your reality. You can be far more than that. You are worth more than that, and whatever you think you are better than that. And sometimes someone's got to call you out on it. So I'm calling you out right now in the most, hopefully the most motivational way that I can, or I am always coming from love and desire for you to be your true potential. So I am just really saying that, say, look, that complaining, that negative self-talk, or that the words that you describe your situation only reaffirm the situation. We must use our words to change our situation, that we must discover why it's important, what we really want, and then when you discover the why, you're going to discover the way, okay? You're going to discover the way to make the change. But the first step is to really be aware of the wolf that you're feeding. Are you feeding that wolf inside of you of all the things that you don't want? The anger, the sadness, the fear, the guilt, the depression, the anxiety, the worries, the doubts? Or are you going to begin to feed the wolf inside of you, which is one of joy, which is one of passion, which is one of love, which is one of prosperity, which is one of gratitude, love, all those things? It is clear that is a choice, okay? It is a choice which way we go, which pathway we go down. We can go down the route of just reaffirming the same old thing like we have been in the past, or we can make today a day that we stand up and we declare to ourselves there is another way of being in this world. So rather talking about your problems and giving life to your problems, you're going to give life to a new way of being. You're going to give life to the words that you give yourself. You're going to give life to what you do in this world, because what we do right here and right now is going to be the biggest thing that we can begin to do to change our life. Many people do not invest that time or the energy in making that change. They think that that's how they are, their lot in life is what is just going to remain the same. But that is just a lie, okay? We have to stop telling ourselves the same old stories. We have to stop saying the same old words. Rather than just describing the situation, let's change the situation. Let's do whatever it takes. What is it going to take for you to make that change? And that is where we have to dig deep. We have to dig deep inside of us and go, look, there is more than my present situation. I am more than my present situation. There is far more that I can begin to do, and I'm going to speak power into my life. I'm going to speak power into what I want. I'm going to speak power into my desires and the way that I feel. You see, all these videos that I've done in the past, over like on the podcast, around 200, the same thing when it comes to YouTube and everything like that, is simply because I want to support you in the best way that I can. Now, of course, on videos, you can just listen and not really ask me questions. There are other ways that you can work with me personally, because one thing I was thinking about today about speaking power is also about accountability. Are you accountable for your actions right now? Because sometimes we can just not be accountable. We can just choose to just say the same old story. Like I've said, the wolf that we feed, is it going to be the one of limitation or the one of possibility, happiness and dreams that we desire and what we want? So we have to hold ourselves accountable right now. We have to really hold ourselves accountable to what we want and who we want to be. Only you can do that, and that's what I call is taking responsibility, giving up those reasons, giving up the excuses, and having a wake-up call that allows us to live more life than there ever has been before. We have to really make that critical decision that there's something more, that there's something more inside of us. And sometimes I like to think that you're watching this right now for a reason. Like there's that part of you which is seeking that, I don't know, whatever it is for you. I mean, to me, there's many words to describe it, but you could say emotional well-being, emotional freedom. It could be peace. It could be happiness. It could be pure love. I really go into the love one, just having love for yourself and the life, because you're going to really start to attract so many opportunities. And we have to really get clear on what is it we really want? What are we going to do? And how are we going to actually cause maybe someone to be our accountability partner? Now, there's many ways you can get accountability. You can find a close friend, and you got to just make sure the friend is someone who's going to be accountable, because there's many people who won't do this. You might feel, I don't know about you, when I first got into this, I felt a little bit alone to a degree, but thankfully my dad was there to support me. But when I had my issue, I felt alone for sure. Like I felt like there was no options and there's no way I could make a change. But once my dad began to help me and train up my mind, because he did hypnosis and coaching, I really began to make changes. So I'm forever grateful for him being my accountability partner. And he still is today. He calls me out on things, and I call him out on things, and we keep ourselves accountable. Same thing with my wife, Melissa. She does what I do as well, and we hold each other accountable in achieving our dreams and goals and our group goals together. And it's the same thing with many people I have in my life. I have accountability partners to keep me on track personally, which you may not even think is something that I would do, because I'm meant to know all these things about coaching, but that's always a learning process. So begin to look for people in your life to be accountable. As I said, it can be quite hard, but if you have to search, go up to a meetup group or something like that, you can join Mind Mastery as well, where we've got a group of, I think we just hit 50 people right now in Mind Mastery, and we're all supporting each other. That's, to me, is like the most awesome Mind Mastery accountability group. People are sharing their dreams, they're sharing their pains, they're sharing their successes. And each time people see that pain, we support that person. Each time they share a victory, we praise them and wonder what else they can do. We keep each other accountable. And in fact, someone the other day, it was a couple of weeks ago now, said they posted one of their achievements on Facebook, and there was pretty much no likes on that post. And it was the most tremendous achievement for that person. And she posted it in Mind Mastery, and she said that she had so much more support on Mind Mastery than any of her closest friends or even family. She had far more, and to me that is about accountability partners. It's about having this mind mastery. It's about how you can keep yourself accountable, where I can coach you every twice a month in a group call, and we can begin to help each other, getting access to all my work. To me, that is the the best way of doing it, but at the very least, you want to be able to find someone in your life to be able to do that. Someone who has either the desire or the knowledge, and preferably both, the desire and the knowledge. That means they can really support you, but at the very least have the desire. Work with someone to keep you accountable and keep yourself accountable as to what words that you're saying, the things that you're saying to yourself, how you want to be in this world. It creates a dynamic, and it's what I think is like this collective energy. This collective energy that we have as a group is very powerful. If you have one mind, it's one thing. But if you're having two minds, like with your friend, you're generating ideas now, you're bouncing ideas. It's like this collective growth that you're having. If you have 10 people, even better. I'm a part of a mind mastery group as well myself. And it's grown now, but it's like, there's one with 5 of us in the group. I think there's 5 of us, and the other one would be, another one I'm in is a part of around 50 people or so. And then Mind Mastery itself, where I'm like the controller of that group when it comes to the support there, when it comes to personal development, letting go of your issue and getting your mind and gear to achieve your dreams. That's at 50 people now. But each time we gain a member, we gain a new energy, we begin to gain a new input, and we can begin to surround ourselves with that wave that gives us opportunities. It's almost like going to the most empowering school that you can imagine, because we're all wanting to change, we all have solutions, we all have ideas, and it is something that we causes ourselves to look for more ideas. We're modeling each other. Like I said, it's not just about mind mastery. Like I said, I'm a part of other groups as well, where I'm paying into those groups to be able to get that, but I also have personal friends who I don't pay. So there's many ways you can go about this. But what I want you to do is look for an accountability partner, or partners ideally, an accountability group, which will get you to hit your goals financially, maybe, in your health, your energy, your emotional well-being, your relationships, your career, all those things. So really consider that, because that's going to help you change the way that you describe the words. It's going to change the way that you speak about things in your life, because you can't really complain in that fashion, because you actually, if there is a complaining, then there's someone else saying, look, let's change this. So straight away, consciously, we're changing our mindset. So that's why I'm bringing up accountability partner, because we may complain, but after a while that complaint is going to get less and less and less, because we're motivating each other, or as a group, or however you find your accountability partner, to be able to speak power into your life of I am worthy, I am great. And we rather being a victim in our life, we become a victor in our life. We begin to strive for more. We begin to speak power. We begin to describe our situation coming from a place of peace, of love, of joy, of happiness, all those things that you want. But we have to change the words. And just a quick call to those Mind Mastery members. You remember last week we did the 2 processes about changing. If you remember, it was the swish and also the spin. It won't make sense for everyone, but go ahead and do that when it comes to your self-talk as well. For those of you who just want a quick idea of others, just a quick simple way, just follow up your words with your negative self-talk with something empowering, and just double that as much as possible. That's going to start to make a change. But like I said, for Mind Mastery members, I did the 2 processes to guide you through that, which will make that change. So go ahead and use that for that. And for everyone else, go ahead and really just follow up your words with something more empowering, something that you're grateful for, something that will cause you to move and change the words that you say. Because you might be having that internal dialogue of limitation, of even like the tone that we have and the images that we make. And as I said, that's just going to bring about more of the same. And if we keep on feeding our mind with those negative self-talk, or those words, which are just simply describing our situation, describing the symptoms that we're going through, we're not going to begin to move forward. We're actually going to either stay stuck or get worse, because the more times we think negatively, it starts to wire the brain that way, because the neural networks, the neurons, the synaptics, and all those kind of things, the neuroplasticity, all those things, it just starts to ingrain it more. So you can say the same will get worse. So I'm telling you, let's begin to change it in a new way and get the neurology to work on our behalf by following it up like a quick, we call it like a pattern interrupt. It's almost like you're going down the one pathway in the brain and suddenly we're going to a new way. So create a pattern interrupt at the very least, of like a stop, quit, anything which will stop you in the tracks, and then follow it up with empowering words, bringing you yourself back to your why. And that's why I mentioned the why, because the why we want something, what it's going to get us is going to give us more motivation. Our whys are our values, and our values are the things which are important to us. So if you begin to find what is of value to achieving your goal and begin to follow up that why, that value, that desire, you will begin to cause yourself to really change that direction, create that pattern interrupt. So someone on Periscope just said, how can they find, and they actually said their area, but how do you find a mind, you could, what would you call this? It's like an accountability group, a mastermind group, a supporting group of individuals. Let's just say that at the very least. So where we can begin to get that cumulative energy. Well, as I said, one of the things you do is look for a friend who actually wants that. That's really hard, because sometimes our friends are unconsciously rebelling against us changing, because they might not have the desire to change themselves if they're going through issues. We always have that one friend who can be that way sometimes. So the other thing you can do is go to like meetup.com and try to find a group that way. They can be free, they can be paid. I think they're usually paid because like the venue hire and things like that. But it can be like $10, £10, whatever it may be, on meetup.com, and look for hopefully a good group which will keep you accountable. It can be quite hard because you don't quite know those people. And the other, like I said, the other thing is something like mind mastery. Now, for everyone who wants to get involved in mind mastery, go to www.josephclough.info/mind mastery. Other ways you can do is, how else could we do this? I mean, that's usually the three options. You find someone close in your life, like a partner or a friend, or you go ahead and look for an external group around you, or you get online and be coached by someone and have their supporting individuals. So it's, I would say those are the three levels. That way you can have someone close to you in your situation, like in your environment, or you can also have someone online, all those kind of things. But the key thing that I wanted to really say about this is to be conscious of what you're feeding your mind. Your words usually are queued up to describe your situation or your past. Instead, go ahead and use your words to empower and change your situation. That is what we have to do. We have to be able to speak power and give ourselves that process of transformation. We have to begin to follow up that negative self-talk, that negative doubt, with something more powerful. I mean, it's just tipping the balance. That's what we're doing. We're overwhelming the old issue with positivity. That is something that what I try to do. If I've got an issue in my life, I'm going to try to overwhelm it with positivity. I'm going to look for every solution I possibly can do. I'm going to ask for advice. I'm going to be able to speak to people who are going to help me get me to be where I want to be. I did not get into this simply by doing it by myself. It was a team effort with me and my unconscious mind. Like I said, my dad, people who trained me, people I've trained up, people in mind mastery, my wife, Sarah, my great assistant, all those things. There's like a supportive group where we're helping, and they come in many forms and many fashions. But the key is to look for those people and also to overwhelm that negative self-talk, that negative ideas and the thoughts and images we have in our mind with something far more powerful. Because that way it can no longer exist, because Very much like, I know I'm kind of talking about two things at once, but they definitely are interlinked. Like I said, if you're working with one person, therefore yourself, you have one amount of energy. But if you start to add more people to your circle on the same pathway and the same vision that you have, or the same desire that you have, or people have the knowledge that you want, now of course, the more people you add to your team, to your circle, the more energy you're going to get from that. And I say that as well when it comes to your words. The negativity that you may have of self-talk, the negative words that you have, the things which are describing your present situation, your past, your reasons, your excuses, all those things, the complaining that we may have, will just bring about more of the same. So what we have to do is add something else to it. We have to begin to speak more power, more love, more desire, and overwhelm the old way of being, so your unconscious mind only gets the new pathway, the new resources, the thoughts and the feelings. That is what we have to do. We've got those two options there. We've got the accountability and also I don't know what someone said, please no negative comments. What is that point of that? I didn't actually see any negative. Oh, someone did say, I have an annoying voice. And that's what I love about the world. You see, people are going to, and let's talk about this right now, because it's really, really cool. So, people in your life will try to sometimes bring you down. Okay, people do that. And do you know what? That's okay. That's just the way the world works. This is something that happens in the world. People might be, you might be having a dream that you really want, or a vision and a mission but what you really want, and people will try to bring you down. And there's not regarding that person, it could be true or not, but usually it's because they're coming from a place of their own issue, or they're coming from a place of sometimes jealousy or their own limitation. And something that I always have that thought, I'm trying to look for it on, I'm not going to look for it on, they take too long, but Steve Jobs was once complained about something that he was doing, and he simply said to the person, and you know what Steve Jobs was like, he said, before you criticize me, tell me what you've done for the world. And that's like a really weird, cool mind shift. It's like, if you have a vision and dream, that is great. That is why you're awesome, because you're taking action. And anyone who has something negative towards you, simply, and Laurie just said it as well, and it's something that I always say, it is none of your business. You see, that person who said something about my voice then, on the Facebook Live, seriously, it has no impact on me, because it's simply none of my business. I'm surrounding myself with what I want out of life. And I think that when we begin to do that, situations, people, simply does not have an effect on you like it did do. You have to be bigger than that, and realize that usually the people trying to bring you down are the ones who actually have their own issues and cause you to be that way. Cause themselves to be that way. Because if you think about it like this, everybody, if you can imagine that this is where you are and there's where the other person may be, if you're trying to bring yourself up and they begin to see that change, and this could be happening in your life, it could be with your boss or anything like that, even like your family, if you're going up and that person has limitations, or they don't feel they can change, then they're going to get worried about that. So what they're going to do, they're going to try to bring you down. Now, we have a choice to be able to buy into that reality or begin to step up and be simply awesome. So what I always say is, other people's opinions are none of your business, because it simply is not. Their idea for you is nothing to do with your idea for yourself. Your mission and the vision that you have for yourself is nothing to do with that person either. It's either up to us to step up and stand up, or to buy into that. Now, if that person right there said about my voice, what if I took that on right this second as an absolute truth? You would never get another audio from me, another video from me, any more hypnosis from me, nothing else for free, any of that stuff ever again. Now, would that be a good thing? Now, that person might go, absolutely, Joseph, that would be amazing if that happened, if you could just take down as a truth because I hate your voice. But for everyone else on here, and all the people who have been downloading my work and my videos, and which is over about 6-7 million now, I think, then those people are not going to get value from that. So it is an obligation that we have to ourselves, is to play bigger and to be more and to just no longer pay attention to what other people think of our life. If we're coming from a place of love, if we're coming from a place from passion, so we're doing the things that we love in the world, and you have that vision and dream and you think, I love it, I have passion for it, I have desire for it, it's going to give me more emotional freedom, go ahead and do that. Because that is what you want. If that is what makes you sing, you go ahead and do it. Because that is where it all comes from. You're not living your life for others. You might be thinking you have to. But that person in your life is never going to get the true value of you if you play small in this world and you do not play life the way that you want it. That is something which is going to bring us down. The weird counterintuitive thing is that we must please other people and buy into what other people say, what society says of us, of how we should be, and that is a way that we should be. But that doesn't actually satisfy anyone, because all it does is it gives other people an example of what cannot be done, because you're no longer being an example of what can be done in this world, and also you're not living a life of joy, of happiness, love and peace and all those awesome things that you can have available to you at any given moment in any way that you desire, whether it be now or in the future. So by buying into other people's ideas and other people's criticisms and complaining and all those things is simply not going to get value from anything. But the day you start to live for yourself and you start to love yourself and you go for what you want, that person is either going to see an example of what can be done and cause them to change their life, or it will just allow them to be who they are. Now, it's not up to us to change them. It is up to themselves to do that. And we have to be at peace with that as well. Sometimes it happens. Not everyone wants to change. And sometimes we may lose some friends, even family members, or even annoy people by our voice or by the way that we look or by our dream and our goal. And that is okay as well. That is their journey. And is equally as like, it's none of our business what people think. It's none of our business sometimes if they don't make that change either. I mean, we can hold them in a place of love and desire and want them to change, but we cannot be the creator of that change that comes from that person. So always remember, people may criticize you, they might try to bring you down, they might try to crush your dreams, but in the same way, are we feeding that person in terms of their belief systems of what can be done and their ideals of how they think you should be? Or should we feed ourselves in such a loving way, in such a motivating way, and speak power into our life and just do what we want in life? If it comes from a place of love, passion, creativity, joy and happiness, all those things, then you have an obligation to be that way. You see, you have to begin to live your life that way. No longer play small, no longer to buy into other people's way of being. This is your life. So begin to be conscious of the words that you use and begin to make that change. And that is what we have to do, guys. I'm saying it pretty simply, but it can be simple sometimes. It can just be a decision to refuse to buy into what other people think, to refuse to buy into other people's expectations. If you're coming from a place of love, then that's all that should really matter. Like that pure love, that joy for yourself. So really remember, if you continuously do that, your unconscious mind picks up on it and then it begins to back you up in situations. And no one should crush your dream. Only you can choose to crush your own dream by listening to other people. I'm going to say that again because that's important. No one can crush your dream. Only you can crush your dream by listening or taking on what that person says. So that's where it comes from, taking responsibility for our life and for being who we want to be. So I've gone on to 44 minutes. I usually do these for 30 minutes, but we totally went on to a whole new subject there, which I absolutely love. I hope you can see that in my face and also my voice. Maybe not for that person who criticized it, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay for people to disagree as well. Like I said, we don't have to buy into it, we don't have to agree with it, but it's absolutely okay for them to be that way, because that is the freedom of choice, okay? Now, you can choose to live your life far greater than you can ever imagine by simply being an example of how you can be. That is the only way, guys. And sometimes you want to pen that person with love. You want to be able to pen that person with examples of change, which is what I try to do. And do it in an empowering way, but sometimes we just have to let it be. And that's okay. So let's recap what we've learned today. We can feed our words. So we can use our words to describe our past or our situation, our past situation or our present situation, or we can use our words to change our situation. We have to begin to speak power. We've got to overcome those negative words with something more empowering, which is going to really overwhelm it. Then we also talked about having an accountability partner, be able to add more energy. The more energy that you add into your life, which is going to support you, you're going to get the more changes. Then we went into this amazing subject change of refusing to buy into what other people think of you. Only you can crush your dreams. Only you can choose to take on whatever that person says or people say. But I always believe if you're coming from a place which gives you more love, joy, peace, and it's good for you and good for the world, then absolutely go ahead and do it. And one more question here. Someone said, what if it comes to children? To be honest, the same applies for anyone. We can be the inspirer of that person. Sometimes we have to let them learn their own lessons, and that's okay. Sometimes if you try to teach people too much who do not want to change, then you're actually going to reinforce more of a divide between you and them, and also they're going to rebel against actually wanting to change. So I always go for the one way of just being the example of what they can do. Give them an example, give them evidence of how they can live their life in the most empowering way, whether that be our children, whether it be our father, mother, siblings, boss, partner, anyone really. That is, I think it comes to everyone in every way. I always go for the inspiring them by being the change I want to see in the world, or be the change you want to see in them, all those things. But sometimes it's okay to allow them to learn their own lessons and to refuse to take that on as a way of being for yourself personally. So have the most wonderful day, guys. And I'm going to look forward to speaking to you soon, because we're almost at 50 minutes, so it's crazy long right now.
This episode was brought to you by Mind Mastery, where you get to personally get access to me so I can answer your questions and coach you and do hypnosis with you to get the success that you desire. Not only that, but you get over 186 hypnosis sessions in day and night version, where half of these are unavailable anywhere online or on the app or the podcast. And you also get all my audio courses, the Complete Confidence, the Happiness Unleashed, the Anxiety Freedom, and the Be Your Potential video course, and so much more. If you want to support the show, if you want to be able to transform your life, go ahead and visit josephclough.info/mindmastery.